It's another delicious day here in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen, and today I'm making a yogurt flatbread. It's some simple ingredients. It's just some unbleached flour. I have baking powder, plain Greek yogurt. You can also just use plain yogurt. It doesn't have to be Greek, but it does need to be plain, and do use full flat or it might not turn out correctly. And then a little bit of extra flour just in case I need it. This is 1 cup, 2 teaspoons, 1 cup. So the first thing I want to do is drop in my baking powder and whisk it in. Okay, just to thoroughly combine that before we add our wet ingredient. What we're trying to get here is a smooth ball of dough. So that's why I have the extra flour, because your local environment might, just like with other breads, it might skew a little bit how much flour or yogurt you need, and it's pretty easy to just adjust your flour a little bit, or your yogurt. If it's too dry, you can add a little bit more yogurt. So I am starting with my 1 cup and 1 cup. It's been cold and very wet here, but I feel my skin is very dry right now, and so I didn't want to go too far with my yogurt. First, I want to get my dough ball made and see where I'm at. And this flatbread, it's really easy to make. You just make your dough ball and then you shape them out and then you pan fry them for a couple minutes on each side and you're ready to go. So fresh bread, quick and easy, no oven, no baking, no rising. There's also no yeast in it for those that can't handle the yeast. Okay, so I think I'm at the point where it's time to get my hands dirty, which means I am done with my spatula. So again, this will be soft and smooth, kind of like a Play-Doh, but not as, I don't know, stiff. Play-Doh's not really stiff when you first open it though. But if you've ever played with Play-Doh and it's soft and not sticky, that's kind of what you're going for. So if it's still too wet, once you've mixed everything in, add a little more flour, but be very careful, do it a little bit at a time. So I'm getting this mixed together and I'm starting to feel just a little bit of sticky. So that means I'm gonna flatten it out some. I'm gonna take my flour and just sprinkle a little more on. That was maybe a teaspoon. I'm gonna shake it and then do the bottom so that it's easier to distribute. Okay. And I'm still doing it in the bowl until some of this wetness is gone. Otherwise it's gonna start sticking to my cutting board and I don't want that. I'll eventually be rolling it on my cutting board, but I want my consistency to be not sticky first. Okay, I need a little bit more, and this is the process that you should do at home. Don't start off with a bunch of flour because then it'll be too dense and it might not stick together. And then it'll crumble and then you'll just have bread crumbles. Might go good on a salad. Okay. I feel like it's getting there. We're so close. Yes, so close. So I'm gonna add a little bit more, just one more time, and then I'm gonna get rid of this extra flour and wash my hands because they're kind of coated, which is okay, but I wanna get clean hands to start making my dough balls with. And depending on how big you're making your flatbread, 6 to 8 of them. If you're going for the little size, then you'll definitely get 8. And I have a rolling pin, but I also have a tortilla press. Even though this is flatbread, you want to try and get this very thin. Okay, here we go. Now I've got my dough ball, and I grab my bench knife, and I'm just going to kind of form a circle here. And I'm going to cut my circle into hopefully somewhat equal pieces. Why equal? Well, because that's what gets our flatbreads about the same size. I've got my skillet preheating to a medium heat. Then I'm going to turn these triangles into balls. Okay, and that's going to kind of help me gauge how close they are to being equal sized. If one's significantly smaller or larger, I can pinch off a piece and try and equal it out. So this looks pretty good to me. I think they're pretty close. This one might be a smidge smaller, but I'm okay with it. So there's two ways you can do this. You can roll it out with a rolling pin, right? So to do that, let's move some of these out of the way. I'm gonna do it both ways for you. Okay, just press it down some with your hand, and I can see already, now that I've smashed it, I'm gonna need a little flour on my surface, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm just, both sides are now floured a little bit, and we're going to roll it in all directions. Now, you can do this square, you can do it round, you can do it rectangle, whatever shape you want your flatbread to be in, doesn't matter. The shape isn't going to make any difference, okay? As long as it holds whatever you're trying to put on top of it, you're good. So again, the goal here is to get them flat and flat as possible. Okay, and so we can accomplish that with our rolling pin or with a tortilla press. Once you're happy with your thickness and your size, shape, whatever, make sure your pan is ready to go. You're just gonna pop it on in there, and it's gonna cook 2 to 3 minutes on each side. While that's cooking, you can flatten out your next one. That one's going, I'm gonna go ahead and do one on my tortilla press. I am gonna flour this a little bit because it stuck a tiny bit with my rolling pin. So I have these tissue rounds, parchment paper. I think they're wax papers actually. Okay, so pressing it down and out. Okay, then I'm gonna check it. Okay, so it gets almost perfectly round, but if you notice, it's not quite as thin as this one is, and this one is getting nice and bubbly. So I'm gonna go ahead and check the bottom. We want it to start getting toasty, so that one looks pretty good. I'm gonna flip it over. Okay, you wanna start getting some nice golden brown spots on it. Okay. And then you just peel this off, okay? Oop. There we go. So that is the shape you're gonna get if you use the tortilla press with your rounds. So what I'm gonna do here is take this one off. I'll cook this one, and then we'll compare the difference in the way that it looks between cooking it hand rolled versus tortilla press. It shouldn't be too different. I've never compared the two side by side, so I'm starting to get a beautiful little pillow here. And I'm gonna go ahead, it looks good. I'm gonna take it off and slap it on my plate and put the next one on. So that's ready to go. So when this one's done, we'll come back and compare them, and then I'll get the rest finished for you. Okay, we're ready to compare. This is the hand rolled, this is the tortilla press. As you can see, there's quite a bit of difference in both size and thickness. So this would be good for making a small, like, torta, a small, just a snack something, or dipping, tearing it up, dipping it in soup. This one, I'm going to make a chicken feta flatbread with it. It's going to be delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand roll the rest of them. And actually that's not entirely true. What I did was I pressed another one out with the tortilla press, and then I finished it with the rolling pin, and it was just a little faster for me. So little tip for you, a little trick. So I'm gonna continue cooking these. When I'm all done, we'll come back and I'll do a quick wrap up. Okay, these are done. And what I did is I played a little bit with the shapes to kind of show you. So this one is actually 1.5 of those balls. I took one of them, cut it in half, and combined it so you get a little bit bigger and a bigger round shape, a bigger flat. So this would be great for maybe a pizza, flatbread pizza. These are the smaller ones. You can see the different sizes that we've got, but they all kind of came out. This is the one thick one that didn't get pressed down further on just the tortilla press. So if you want something thicker, this is the way to go. It's nice and soft, so it'd be great for like dipping in soups or hummus or things like that. Speaking of hummus, I'll put a link down below for a recipe for that. But we're also going to use it in my next video, where I'm going to make some chicken feta flatbread, and we're going to use these flatbreads in it and my homemade hummus recipe, which I've already made, and I'll put the link below for that recipe I made it this year, I guess last year at this point, it was last year, and it's delicious, and you can play with the flavors that you want with that. You can make a red pepper hummus or whatever you want. So link down below for that to go with these if you want, and I'll also have it in the chicken flatbread feta recipe as well. Thanks for joining me here today in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen. If there's something you'd like to see me make, put it down below. From my kitchen to yours, let's make food from food.
That's one boy puppy.